It's time to start again. For legends to be created. The competition will be fierce. Everyone has their eyes on the prize. This is anybody's game. It's time to come alive. Be a leader, believer, a fragging genius. Create the impossible. Create the unthinkable. Go down in history. Who will become the ultimate gods of the game? It's time to write the first chapter. Welcome to the creation.
It's now or never for G2. It is now or never for them to perform.
They gotta be one of the best teams in the world, and they gotta show us from the get-go of 2021.
And a deep T smoke, but Nico double kill. Vinny inside the fire will be his third. And the fourth.
We expect a lot from these guys, but when Breeze and the boys are performing, they still have what it takes to be up there with the best.
Out of bullets is Tarek, and it's up to Ethan. Oh, he turns! He wants to go for the triple. He's already done the damage. I think he's got the time. Another headshot.
You would like them to come in here in full force and show the world what they can do. They have the potential to be up there with the very best.
Takes down Electronic, and it's all on Simple. And Flameth gets the second kill. He's doing all the work.
But they're coming into 21 with a lot of expectations on their back. I think we have to recognize the pressure onto Vitality right now is enormous.
They still don't have a kit, and he's going to shoot the guy defusing. Apex, an absolute hero at the end.
Welcome back to Blast Premier. We had a day off yesterday that I'm sure you all enjoyed. I know we on the desk did because it was full of Counter-Strike either way, because we live and breathe this game here and now. And right here and now for today, we're moving into Group 2. And to do all of this, to bring me through all the action, I've always got Maniac with me. He's smiling already straight away. His favorite team is here.
Yeah, my favorite team is here. I had lasagna for lunch. Today's a good day already.
They
Lasagna for lunch.
put beans. They put beans in the lasagna. How can you be excited and happy when you put beans inside a lasagna? That's all I want.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
That's all I want.
I like how this is where Pimp starts on this whole thing.
That's my day.
That's Pimp's day on it. For you guys at home, though, what we should do is explain the exact format and how everything is working out here, because Group 2 right now is looking pretty scary. Okay, you look at the likes of Vitality in G2, but EG, right, they've had a bit more time in Europe, and Complexity, they're finally back with Poison.
Look, I like the way you kind of separated these, because my separation would be a different. I would say there is Vitality and then there's the rest of the group. I think lines are a little bit blurry about G2, Complexity with Poison now, EG. I don't think the lines are quite so clear.
I think this is the group with the most potential in it. I agree with you. Vitality, of course, are better than the rest. They've showed that throughout 2020. But when it comes to G2, when it comes to EG, and when it comes to Complexity, all lineups as of right now who are struggling a little bit. So the potential is definitely within the group. Whether that's going to happen or not, we'll have to play it out and see for ourselves. But out of all three groups we have here at Blast, this is the one that has the potential to be the most exciting.
Well, let's see if it is going to be the most exciting later on today. But before we get there, let's explain to you exactly how the 2021 season is working here for Blast.
Welcome to the ultimate Counter-Strike event of the year, the Blast Premier World Final. 8 of the world's greatest teams from across the spectrum of Tier 1 Counter-Strike come together in a titanic clash to crown the undisputed champion of 2021. Blast Premier member teams will start their journeys to greatness in the season group stage, where they will battle it out in 3 groups of 4. The top 6 performing teams will automatically qualify for the season final. The remaining 6 teams will be cast into the showdown, where they must fight for survival in a brutal single elimination format. Whilst there, they will each be joined by 2 top global teams by way of exclusive invitation. A further 8 additional teams will join the fight, thanks to Blast Premier Qualifiers, a new set of regional tournaments making it truly open for all. Victors of the showdown will secure their place in the season final to join their 6 adversaries. Here, the 8 finalists will go head-to-head in a double elimination knockout. Whichever team triumphs over their rivals in the season finals will automatically qualify for the Blast Premier World Final, getting ever closer to claiming their chance of being crowned the undisputed Team of the Year. The champions of both the spring and fall seasons will be joined by exceptionally skilled teams, including winners of the CSGO Major, ESL Pro Leagues, Flashpoint tournaments, as well as the team who tops the global leaderboard. The global leaderboard is a year-long point scoring system that takes into account the performance of Counter-Strike teams from leading tournaments around the world. Teams accumulate points by winning matches and progressing as far as possible in these selected events. Teams hoping to qualify through the global leaderboard will have until November 28th to claim as many points as they can in a number of events, including both Blast Premier seasons and several leading tournaments. In the event of any duplicate winners, spots will be opened up to those who have fought their way to the top end of the leaderboard. These 8 champion teams come together for one last battle as they face off for a prize pool of $1 million. Who will go the distance and be crowned your Blast Premier World Final Champion? Join us on the journey.
And you are joining us on the journey right here and now. It's a huge year ahead of us, and we've got the dates for all of you to show you exactly what is going to be coming up. We're already into the second week here for the spring season, and we still got the full season and the world final towards the end of the year. Plenty of amazing Counter-Strike featuring literally the best teams in the world.
Absolutely. There is plenty of Counter-Strike to rejoice and to be happy and excited about. We had already a few pages being written last week, and today we write a little bit more.
And Pimp, those showdowns, we love them.
I love it. I love the single elimination bracket. I love the clear-cut format where you show up and you fail once and you're out. So you gotta show up in your absolute best shape if you want to claim a spot for the next final. So yes, I love the showdown.
And we really want the fans to understand, right, how important the world final is and how it works out. Because when we call this the most inclusive tournament circuit there is, this is exactly why. It's not just our events that you get there from being able to have a chance at the world final. You have the biggest and best events within Counter-Strike, and the winners will be at our world final.
Yeah, that's insane. And I think for the viewers as well, it's nice to have some sort of coherence between all of these tournaments and to see time progressing and trying to draw the stories of each team, how you're doing at the beginning of the year. And with a program like that, you know, you can have a couple of weeks off. It's fine. You have other opportunities to qualify for the world final, and one bad month is not going to kill your season. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, we are looking forward to it. But the players are going to be looking forward to all of this money that's on the line. $1 million out there, and Pimp, those prize pools didn't really exist when you were playing, did they?
Not at all. I remember winning second place at Copenhagen Games at the time with the biggest tournament, Copenhagen Games, and I think we won 4,000 euros. So there's a big difference in terms of prize money right now. There's a lot of cards that can be bought for $1 million, James.
Yeah, just a few. Unless you're going to go really crazy and buy, I don't know, one of the most expensive cards you can find in the world. But what we should start getting into, what we should take a look at, is Group 2.
Obviously, we haven't really done too well yet here in Europe, but you know, coming into Blast Spring, we're hoping to have a good showing.
It's pretty rough right now in the sense that we lost so many official matches, so I don't think the confidence in the team is that high. And we're going in to play Vitality in our opening match, which we have lost very big to the last couple times we played them.
They will have a lot of hunger, so it's gonna be a really tough opponent to begin with.
We don't have like big expectations to go out and beat them. It's more about like showing that we can actually like be competitive against them, I think.
G2 is just a really good team. Obviously, since adding Nico, they've added crazy amount of firepower. I think if we're playing our A game, then I think we have a pretty good shot at beating them.
I think we feel pretty confident going into it, and I know the guys from EG, they're boot camping here in Serbia as well, so if they win, I might just go over to their place and do something about it, you know.
In the state win right now, we kind of bring the X factor because we just got poisoned back and people don't really know what to expect.
Same as what we brought for the Blast Global Finals, we only bring headshots and nothing else.
Just seeing NA versus EU, I guess, could be what we bring.
We don't really have big expectations to go out and win. I think it's more about showing that we can play good Counter-Strike again, like grinding our way back, hopefully to the top.
The expectations are pretty simple. You know, we have 2 more events here while we're here in Europe, and we just gotta win an event.
Whatever the results will be, we'll keep fighting all the way.
First part of the year, our expectations are not set so high. For the other half of the year, I expect us to be at the top of the world.
I believe a lot of entertainment will be there. Everyone in this group has something to prove.
That is right, Shocks. There is a lot to prove when it comes to this group for a lot of these teams that maybe didn't hit the mark towards the end of last year. But Vitality find themselves in the special place that they are one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team from what we saw from Astralis last time around. That is why they come in as the first seed. But they're also the team that I would say right now have got the most to lose if they didn't do well here.
You are right, James. And I'm very glad you mentioned Astralis, because you might look at this group and think, Vitality, they have it probably quite easy. They will qualify. That should be okay. But if you watch Counter-Strike last week, Astralis, the best team in the world, didn't make it. They were sent to the showdown. So I think this is why we need to put some respect on these opponents and realize that Vitality will not have an easy way to the finals. They have to earn it like anyone.
In Complexity, this juggernaut team, right? We finally get them back with JKS. Okay, he hasn't shown his full potential just yet, but we get Poison back in the mix, who's been unfortunately unwell, but it's been a struggle for Complexity to find any consistency because of it.
It has, and I don't think Poison is going to come in and take the game by storm, so to speak. He's not going to come in and be the best player on the server or anything like that, but what I hope to see from Complexity is the other players on the lineup once again getting elevated now that they're back to the normal roster. Config ended off 2020 like fire, started 21 a little bit slow. Same for JKS. We haven't really seen his potential fully been released so far. So I hope Poison coming back to Complexity can make the best out of Config, the best out of BlameF, and the best out of JKS. That way we get a competitive Complexity.
That is definitely what we need to see. But looking over the other side of things, coming over to the North American squad of EG, they came into Europe end of last year, didn't do too well, left early, then came back now, but they've stayed here the entire time. They have been grinding it out for the next few events, but they now need to find some success.
Yeah, times are rough for EG, honestly. I feel like my confidence in the project is going down the drain, and when you listen to them in interviews, they still feel like quite happy, which surprises me. But Breeze said it, they're going to be here for a month. That is the third event they have in Europe. They just want to have a trophy. What I have seen from them, and I had the opportunity to cast them when they were doing DreamHack, right? That wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, honestly. It's not going to be enough to get that objective that they're going for. And I'm getting worried for the project as a whole, because how many losses can you take until you break?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it, right? They just want a trophy. At this point, I'll be happy if they can just make good place in playoffs or a good final, right? A good, I don't know, an epic proportion where they can actually look competitive.
I respect them for saying they want to come into Europe and win a trophy. Every team should show up with the mentality that you're about to win the tournament. And especially when you have the players like EG have available, you name guys like Breathe, Ethan, you know it, right? They're good players, but as you said, how about they just stay competitive? How about they just put up a fight and maybe get close to a trophy or get close to a player for something like that? There's a lot of players right now not performing. If I told you Tarek right now was the second highest rated player the past 3 months for EG, something is wrong. What if I told you Cirque right now is the lowest rated player for EG? The Bulgarian bulldozer, the guy that we looked towards when we talked about European AWP players who could be up there with the very, very best a couple of years ago. Well, you see his stats right here. The last 3 months compared to 2020, he's down, he's not playing well, and that is maybe the biggest problem EG have right now. They're missing Cirque on the server.
And this comes back to the conversation we were having last week, right? Your AWP player should be the one that's been able to make the big difference in here. If he's not doing well, it's very hard to be successful in this meta of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, he changes everything. And I want to bounce back on Jacob's point. It's true that Cirque is not delivering the way he used to. Just looking at his attempts at entry fragging, 17% only. So that's an AWP that is not taking the risks right now. I don't even know if it's a matter of confidence, if it's a matter of play style. I would have to dive deep in their demos. But matter of fact is, Cirque is not performing enough. And another man we need to mention is the sole player in that lineup that's been twice in the top 20. Breeze, this man, he was twice in the 20 best players in the world. Where's that kind of performance right now?
And normally you say he's kind of accompanied by Ethan, right? We always spoke about them being this really deadly duo the whole way through. He needs a bit of backup.
There was a point in my time, there was a point in EG's careers, I guess, where you look towards them and you thought, okay, EG for the future, they have just as much, if not more potential than Liquid. They could be the best team in North America. That's not the case anymore. Whenever we look at EG, we're thinking to ourselves, if they can just make it competitive, if they can just take off a map, that would be surprising. That's not good enough, right? EG, they're pumping in a lot of money into this project. There's a lot of star potential on the lineup, but as you said, as you already concluded, something is missing right now. And there's not only one person. It's not just Cirque or not Breeze or Ethan, but you see it right here on the graphics, right? It's just going one way, and that's down. They're definitely not stonks right now, James.
There's no stonks in this right now, and those stonks going down, maybe it's time to invest. Maybe it's time to put some stock behind them, because this is where they have to show up. They've had this time in Europe that they've wanted. They've been able to have some time without official games. Now there should be no excuses. choices, surely.
No, you're correct, James. I, for one, am always careful with saying there should be a change in the team. I'm more of the philosophy of truly exploiting it, looking to the bottom of it, and if really, then you have to do. But I feel like EG is reaching that point where you look at the roster and you think, this is it. This is probably the best we can hope we can get from these 5 players. Something's not missing. We heard rumors, maybe Cirque wanting to go back to Europe, maybe not willing to invest, in that life in NA, which you can understand as a human being. It's completely understandable. But again, that's what I'm talking about. The synergy is missing for these 5 players, and you fail to see what's the difference between now and when they were destroying everyone. What is missing?
What is missing? We'll be finding that out across the event of this last few days that these guys are going to have to try and make it happen. But G2 is a more interesting topic of conversation because we expect so much since what did you call him, the most expensive rifler to be added to the lineup here, Pim?
Yeah, I mean, I think without knowing, I think his salary is quite hefty, right? I think bringing Nico to any lineup, that's going to put a dent into the account manager for sure. But when you look at Nico, when you look at this lineup, you look at the individual skill they have available, you would think to yourself that G2 could be one of the best teams in the world. And sure as hell, when they brought in Nico, they thought to themselves, we can be one of the best teams in the world. We want to challenge Astralis, we want to challenge Vitality, we want to challenge Na'Vi and be up there with the very best. That just hasn't been the case yet. And sure, in the beginning, we gave them the excuse that they need to mold together, we need to give them time, but time has passed now. This is it, right? We saw them at the global finals here in the beginning of the year, not doing well. Now, if they come into this tournament and don't make it out of groups, I'm ready to say that the addition of Nico so far has been a failure.
See, that's what's so interesting. When you bring in a player with the quality and the magnitude of Nico, right?
Yes.
There is a timer that starts the very moment he joins. And you're thinking, okay, you have about this amount of time, 2 to 3 months, to start performing. Because after that, we don't value that as a good move. And to be fair, G2 are reaching the end of that period. Nico joined in. They had a very good first tournament. We saw his first plays, his first games with G2 together, and that was amazing. But ever since, it hasn't paid off. We see him join in. The curve is like staying around 8 to 9. For how long is that going to be good enough when you brought in Nico?
Well, this is it, right? When you've got the entire lineup that is so skilled, there's so much potential with a roster in G2 that we put so highly, that 8th position is not something you go, it's acceptable. You go, oh, we expect to be much higher than that.
Not at all. If you're Nico, you want to be in one of the best teams in the world. If you're his cousin in Hunter, you want to be on one of the best teams in the world. And if you used to be Kenny S, maybe one of the greatest AWP players to ever touch the game, you're not satisfied being number 8. So it's not good enough. I don't really care that there's a slight increase in their rankings, right? All the way being down there from the beginning. That was not good enough. That's why they made the change in the first place. But for G2 not to be a top 5 team in the world is unacceptable. Simple as that.
Well, let's see if they can get it further with this side of things, because we've also got to talk about Amanek, right? Because this man, we speak about him kind of getting lost and maybe ignored on this roster from time and time again, but he is Mr. Slowly getting there, right? But not maybe having as much space as he used to have.
Look, here is my problem right now with Amanek. When Nico joined in, G2 had this period of time where they were testing Amanek and Jax. They weren't exactly sure who they were going to keep and what kind of roster they were going to put together. The first tournament, which is the one we highlight here at Fall Finals, Amanek as a 5th was stellar. I myself thought that is it. They found the roster. The way he's playing, he's taking all these shadowy roles and he's making a superb job at it. Just keep him. 100% keep him. He's more versatile. Truth of the matter of fact, is that in Global Final, for example, he disappeared. He completely disappeared. And he is the man that is supposed to bring balance to the team. If you look at his roles, if you look at his positions and how he plays in the team, he's the one that makes sure that everything is staying in place. And he wasn't doing that in Global Final. And a man like this is key for the team's stability, and I want to see more from Amanek.
When we're talking about that stability, though, we've also got to look at Hunter. This is a man who, at times, we praise as being probably the better one out of the cousins. And right now, these last few events, he's not been able to do that.
He's had a rough start to 21. There's no hiding that. But I'm not worried on Hunter's behalf. We saw him rise in 2020, and we saw him, as you said, be in contention for who is actually the better player. Is it Nico or is it Hunter? There was a discussion to be had. That's how good he were at that time. Now, of course, he's coming into 21, not feeling it so far. I wouldn't worry just yet. If this is a trend that keeps on going for the next couple of months, then that is a problem. That could suggest that Nico coming into the team, he's not feeling the same amount of space, he's not feeling the same amount of comfortability, right? But a player to have a down period for 1 or 2 months, everyone has had it. You had it as a player, you've had it as a player, and I've tried it myself. So I won't worry too much about Hunter just yet. I think he has enough skill to bounce back. For now, though, it's not good enough, but I think he's aware, and G2 is aware as well.
G2 certainly will be aware, and we'll get to see how aware they are and what improvements they've been able to make just later today. But before we get to that, it's time for us to kick it to a break for just a few moments, because when we come back, we're going to be bringing you Complexity taking on Vitality.
kind of spiraled a little bit out of control in the sense that we had like 3 different stand-ins all of a sudden in the past like 4 months or something, and we just kept playing with new players all the time, and we never really knew when we would get Poison back specifically, so it's nice getting Poison back. The team mentality has changed a little bit in the sense that we're now back with being a roster that we know is like our permanent roster. I think Poison is one of the best AWPers in the world in the sense that, like, individually skilled, he can definitely like peak as high as I think even like Simple and Saiwu on his good days. He brings a lot of firepower to the team, and he has like a very, very high confidence in game, which also helps other people play more confident. Like, there's any team in the world that we cannot beat. I think it's more about us like finding our way back to the game right now and finding our identity as a team. When we get back into the groove of being a good team and we know how to play off each other and all that stuff, then I think we're gonna start like coming back. And that could happen this tournament, and it could happen the next tournament or the next tournament after that. It's hard to tell right now. We're gonna have to play some more officials together with this starting roster and then see how it goes. It can be hard being an IGL in these times, especially like when we're having a stand-in and obviously like people not playing as good as they should be. But I think it's just about like just trying to stay positive, honestly, when bad times come, because bad times will come, and after bad times, good times will come, of course, but bad times will come again eventually. So it's just about staying positive, honestly.
Big words coming out from big man Blame F there. And I'm going to poke him on one thing. I understand Poison's good. I understand it's good for Poison to be back. But to compare him to Simple and Zai, that's a little bit too far for my liking.
Look, I want everyone in the world to trust in their teammates, which is great. You should do that. Honestly, you should trust in your teammate. You should hype them up. Let's just take a deep breath on the Simple Zai comparison. Like, first, let's give him a couple of games, a couple of weeks, then we can go there. But I understand where he comes from. I truly understand.
Poison is one of the best scouters in the world, and that's about it.
Scouters fired out there, okay.
He's a pretty good one.
Okay, so we'll take it on the scout shot for it, but for this complexity, right? This is now their time to grow together as the actual unit, and JKS has not had that ability so far. And I think the key point here for JKS, yes, he has not hit the mark that we wanted to see, right? He's not been as good, but he has been in the most confusing up and down world that you could ever expect, like stand-in players, not being anywhere close to home, going from NA to Europe to start off with. And to be fair, you can't really hate on him for what he's been able to achieve.
No, you have to understand it. You have to understand it. And for the viewers, I want to bounce back on a point that BlameF made, is that, you know, you have this roster with an ever-changing 5th player with you that's not Poison. And of course, you are a professional, so you want to give it everything, and you're going to say you give it everything, but you're a human being as well. And it's really hard to invest your everything into a project that can last a week or 2 weeks. You don't know when your 5th is going to go back. You take on many, many losses. I've been looking at the results. I think the last 2 events they played, they won 1 map, not a series. Ooh. They won a map, a single map in the last 2 events they played. Yeah. They're humans, right? The confidence, the motivation, the energy, it's chipping away at you bit by bit. So now Poison is back, and I'm hoping that they can look at towards the future.
But even with that, right? Yeah, okay, Poison's back. We know what complexity used to be able to deliver. How much time do we give them now? Because it's not going to be just as easy as, oh, he's back in, we win again.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because it's hard done for them because they don't have a lot of time. They can't keep losing and losing and losing and only win 1 map once in a while. Of course, they have to rack up some W's. So I'd give it a tournament or 2 with Poison back to see if we can see improvements. If we see those improvements, sure, we can give them more time. But if nothing changes, you have a problem with complexity. Just to follow up on the point with JKS as well, let's talk personality types, right? JKS is a guy that throughout his entire career who was playing with the Australian guys from Renegades, the Thieves, or whatever they were called throughout that time. He's a guy that thrives well when knowing where everyone is around him, and he's a guy that thrives well when he has a stable home. Right now, he's forced to be at a hotel 1 week, another hotel the next week, and so forth and so forth. As a personality, as a player, JK is not fitting into what's going on in complexity right now. That's not his fault, but it's directly compromising his performance on the server. You can see that clearly.
How much of an eye test will this be for you guys on understanding what complexity have potential-wise, even outside of the results, but just from what you see in these early stages?
I think it's too soon. I agree with Jacob. I think it's too soon. I think we have to be careful with the narrative because the first one we want to jump on, myself included, is, yay, Poison is back, it's going to be amazing. Yeah. Let's take a deep breath, right? Even before Poison had to take a sick leave, he was quiet as an individual. His stats were average at best. So individually, we have to be careful with him. What I want to see is a good mentality, good vibes. I want to see complexity enjoying themselves, having a good moment playing together. If it's working, and if that's the case, I do believe the results will go up, which we know these are good players, these are good individuals. They have proven that in 2020, but we have to be careful with our expectations. He just got back.
He just got back and he goes straight into a match against Vitality as well. And for Vitality, right, arguably right now the best team in the world, depending on what you look at it and what performance they'll bring today. And I want to start this topic of conversation around Nevera because When he first came into this, we were so happy. Oh, wow, he's doing it. He's doing it all. He's playing so well. But the last tournament, he did not manage to make it happen.
No, and there's two sides to this coin, right? Because Nevero, you see it on his screen right here. He was doing a fantastic job when he first came in. Unheard of, actually, right? We're looking at a player that come in with less to none experience, and all of a sudden he's playing like he's a Saivu. He's playing like he's close to be a Symbol at some point on the server. Consistency as well. You know, in all the games, the first 15 maps he played, he was in positive KD in every single one of those games. No one expected that. So to see him drop off, sure, that was expected. But the drop off and how steep that drop off was, you know, how deep he went down, that's the problem for me. That was too much for my liking. If he went back to just a normal 1 rating or just a normal, you know, 0 or +1 KD, it would have been fine. But to see him play that bad in that tournament, that's a worrying sign for the future for me.
It really is. And then the other worrying sign was what we saw from Apex. We love this guy, right? Gives us all the emotion, all the facial expressions we can enjoy. But you could see he was not in the right place during Global Finals.
No, and I think it's a theme for the whole Vitality. I believe we can bring up the results they had in the Global Final because I think there was a pattern what happened against Na'Vi and against Astralis. So let's have a look at this, right? These two series, which they played against the best teams in the world, granted, same structure. You lose one map that you throw away on details, you play one good map, and you capitulate on the third one. That was the case in both scenarios. 5-16 to Astralis, and even the 10-16 is a small 10 against Na'Vi. That was not a good-looking Vitality. To me, that was the most worrying signs of Vitality I had seen in a long time. Not only because of the scorelines, because of how they played. It was a Vitality that had no fail-safe. The rounds were having no logic, no identity. You didn't really know what they were doing. And the men that we have on our screen, Apex, unfortunately, he dropped it just a little bit at that Global Final. And I want to take a minute here because, you know, he's a human being. Yeah. It's not easy to control your emotions. Granted, I accept that, I respect it. Anyone can have bad days. What is unfair for him is that he's the IGL. And as an in-game leader, you cannot abandon your ship. It is not acceptable. That is the problem. That's the responsibility that comes with being an IGL. So I think Apex has been doing a better job at improving himself over 2020, that's for sure. But the signs we've seen at Global Final, they worried me, and I don't want to see that anymore.
And now we've had some time though, right? And hopefully the support staff behind Vitality able to help him out a little bit further here. And you can see this, right? Because he understands what's going on. He sees the messages. I've read a lot of reactions about my emotional part. You are all right and I want to get better, but it's not an easy task. Every humans are different, but this is the most important thing I want to improve. Thanks for cheering for us. V for victory. And that's an important message to put out there because he's aware of it, but it's also something that has to be fixed very quickly because I wonder for Zyru, by the way. Always sat next to him, doesn't bat an eyelid, doesn't move, just robot, nothing happens on his face. But other players, they don't have that luxury. They can be affected by that.
No, I'm not going to discount that Apex sometimes, you know, have a bit of a problem with the emotional state of the game, especially as Matthew said, being the in-game leader. You want to chant that down. You don't want to be at, you know, up here all the time where you're yelling, screaming, and not focusing on the game. Now, that being said, though, to me, this is a classic example of jumping the bandwagon. It's always been like that. You saw when they won every single time, he was the same. They could be up 10-1 and they could lose one round where he felt he did a mistake and he would react the same way. So, sure thing, we didn't really point it out when Apex and Vitality were winning, but that's the first thing we point towards when they're losing. And of course, I agree with Matthew, it is a problem, but it's also a case of jumping the bandwagon. Apex has always been like this. Sure, it may have gotten better, maybe getting a little bit worse, but we only notice it when they lose, and that's when we start to pinpoint the problem. They were winning all the time. They're the best team in the world with him being the exact same way. So let's calm down just a tiny little bit, let him work on it in silence, and stop jumping the bandwagon. It's getting kind of boring.
Well, let's find out exactly how it's going on within the Vitality camp as we talk to Shocked about the Vitality mentality right now.
So what specifically have you been working on? Where did you find those issues of finding that consistency as a team?
As a lot of people could see at the global finals, I'm talking about emotions. I'm talking about the clutch situations, the post plant when your T-side and the bomb is planted, the communication between the team, stuff like this.
Well, you touched on the emotions there as well. It's something we were talking about a lot. How do you kind of balance that? Is there ever instances where the emotion in the team can really throw you off, or is it something that you guys kind of thrive on?
The thing is, the emotion can be a really good thing, but in the same time, if you don't really control them in the bad moments, I would say, or in the tough moments, they can be your enemy. So when I talk about it, it's more about trying to be always on the same page. Of course, you can have emotions. I mean, you are human, so of course But there is a difference between having sometimes emotions because it's needed and getting frustration kinda everyone. You know, it's not the same.
Now, one thing we're going to see, which is interesting here, for Global Finals, they were all in the Vitality facility. Now they're back at home as well, which will also play a factor in this.
Pluses and minuses, right? The emotions, they don't infect the same way if you're not sitting next to each other, but also if you're having a bad game, sometimes it's a bit harder to pull yourself together because you don't have your teammate and the staff around you. But if you are going to be one of the best and probably best team in the world, arguably, then you can do it from home as well.
Now, I do want to quickly touch on one player just before we get into the veto, and that's Masuta as well. Because this is a guy that he has been Mr. Consistent for this team, right? He's been able to hold his line and also been able to jump in and out of games with relatively no problem.
I think he's been doing a fantastic job. People forget how young he is as well.
Yeah.
He's very, very young. He's very unproven, inexperienced, and he plays like a very experienced player. And I think that's probably one of the biggest compliments I can give to any player at that age. The fact that when you look at them, when you give them the eye test, they don't really make any mistakes. He's doing his job. He's not supposed to be the star player. He's not supposed to carry. He's not supposed to drop 30 bumps. That's all Saivu. That's all shocks. As long as he's doing his job, he's going to be a great asset for this team.
And he definitely has been from start to finish. But let's take a look at the maps and see what we're going to get this time around. Maniac, what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I have a couple of questions. Well, the first one was going to be which ban would be for complexity. So they have decided to remove Vertigo, which could have been a punish, which means Inferno is open. Let's keep that in mind for the rest. Vitality should remove Train. That makes sense. Now, if you are complexity, I do believe that Mirage is the most sensible choice. Mirage has always been at the bottom of the list for Vitality. It's not a map they really like. They go for it. Vitality, to me, have two choices here. The first one is the obvious one. It's Dust 2. It's the map they pick the most. They're really good at it. Why not? You're one of the best team in the world. You can also go to an Overpass or an Inferno. Maps that are, there we go. They go for the Overpass. That to me means, hey guys, you have Poison right back. I don't think your team play is in place. They're going to punish you on a tactical. So now for the third map, you have both Dust 2 and Inferno potentially, which means to me that Vitality have done a good job. They could just decide to go for the Inferno at the very end. That would make sense. I don't know why they would allow Nuke. Complexity used to be a good team on it. I personally think they would go for Inferno, but I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, it would be very exciting and interesting if they did win for Nuke, but I think Inferno is the go-to pick right here. It's not this time around, so this is interesting, right? Because we know that they've been implementing the new play in towards Nuke. Now, Nivea is going to play Nuke again, I believe. So that's going to be curious to see whether or not they've been working a lot on Nuke and want to integrate that to be part of the map pool. Inferno has always looked good for Vitality. They've always been solid on it, but we also saw during the Global Finals that when Nivea is not playing well, then Inferno is not looking that scary all of a sudden. So that may be a direct consequence of him not having a good tournament last time around that the veto now changes.
Do you feel like this gives a bit more of a chance of complexity that you would have given them going into this?
No, I still believe that Vitality did a good job at this veto. The matter of fact is Poison just got back, and we have to assume that the protocols are really tightened up and polished, so there's going to be mistakes here and there, and Vitality get away with both Overpass and Nuke, very tactical map. And I like Jacob's point. I really like it about Nivera's performance and the impact. Could that be an explanation as to why Vitality shied away from Inferno? The numbers were really good. It used to be their go-to map.
They lost 16-5, 16-5, both times to Astralis. And sure, Astralis are one of the best teams in the world on Inferno, but if you're Vitality, it's unacceptable to lose 16-5, 16-5. So I am 100% sure that their, experience with the Global Finals, their experience against Astralis is part of the reason as to why we see Nuke played out in this matchup.
Well, we've got the maps and we've also got the odds down below. It's slightly in favor of Vitality, and you can understand why, as it's the complexity that's trying to come back into this, bringing their full roster to the forefront. Is it enough to take down one of the best teams in the world? Well, we're about to find out as they take on Vitality after the break.
If you have a minute to talk, I really wanted to talk about complexity. Because here's a roster with a lot of instability in the last few months. It's been really tough on Blame, who was in the top 6 this year, and he struggled even in his last few events towards the end of the year. He's one who was the most consistent as a lurker on the roster, who was the IGL. But JKS, after coming in since the Blast Fall Series, has really struggled to keep up results. And that was a question, can he fill in for Obo in Obo's shoes? And we thought that he could, but it seems like that's not clear yet. And of course, now we have Poison, who is back in the lineup, and we're going to see if he can really patch up the problems on the team. Config is not a problem on the team. Rush, we know what his roles are, and he fulfills his duties. He's not someone who we point to for technically the stats, but yes, there are questions with Poison that'll be answered today.
Those guys are monsters. It's kind of an all-in, right? You missed a shot here, but he doesn't. He usually doesn't.
It will eliminate anyone in front of them.
Let's see if he can flick it. Oh, he absolutely can.
I wouldn't be surprised if they at one point throughout this year will be a consistent top 3 team. There's so much skill in that lineup.
Rush, though, finding another one. Beautiful deagle work. Can he get another one? Oh my god, he's gonna shut them all down. Well, then here we are, the first match of the day, and it's going to be Vitality and Complexity, the best of 3. Some of you feeling ready for it? I noticed you went deep on the NA stuff today.
I'm ready for it, man. I am ready for it. You know why? It's not the NA side, although, yes, I will support the team from the Lone Star State. It's BlameF I'm putting my faith in.
BlameF?
It's Danish CS.
Well, he's got some pretty heavy odds he's going to have to fight against.
Yeah,
something
but
like 3-1.
Can't trust those, can we?
Can't trust the odds, well,
with how things have panned out in the first group, right? With all of those upsets, all of them 2-0s, all sorts of weird stuff going on in Group A, it has made me believe that the parity is there, Anders, and that no team is safe in this group stage.
Well, I mean, it could be true.
And look, they're all on location. They're all on location, aren't they?
They're all, yeah, there's some unknowns. There's some really big unknowns here that I think we're just going to have to find out, maybe. Poison back in the mix. Vitality have looked simultaneously amazing, but also really shaky. I don't know what that all adds up, but I think we're going to find out right here and right now, heading into Mirage. It's the very first map. So once again, big welcome here. I really can't wait for this. I love watching Vitality play, although, I mean, again, some of the shakiness we were talking about also cause for concern. Yeah. Complexity. Poison is back, but it feels like they haven't fit JKS into this lineup in any reasonable fashion. So I really don't know what to say. I picked Vitality just because it was the most obvious choice, really.
Well, yeah, you got to play the numbers at some point. Well, yeah, it's like right now I'm just building on the idea that Complexity are going to have all the element of surprise on their side. Now, whether they can capitalize on that is the question. Shoxy peeked mid already to get the information, so nobody spotted top. Apex holding close to A, but it's BlameF and Config calling the fake, and Shoxy finding the first shot.
Yeah, that's a nice kill. Taking down BlameF, although they don't realize it yet, but Config is still sneaking in here. He's got the P250. Doesn't really help if he's going to get shot in the back. He's going to find and just assassinate Shox. A little bit of panic there, but Cyril will come in to help out now. Hit is on for the B-bomb site, and RPK, they don't even touch the ground. Rush, he was dead as he was landing. And JKS, well, 1 versus 3. He's going to get a double kill, but it won't matter in the end. It'll be Vitality to pick up the pistol round in There wasn't that much panic. It seemed like they had that under control, more or less.
No, because we're gonna get a little time out here, and actually that's nice because it's gonna give me a little chance to talk on this. Complexity, they have complex pistol rounds, right? They're T sides. It's not just rush B, YOLO, throw flashes. There's always layers on layers with these guys in terms of what they're trying to throw at you. So I bet you Apex, as soon as he Blamef goes down, he's like, hold.
Wait a minute.
Hold.
Wait a minute.
Nobody rotate. Wait for this because it's not done yet. It's not just going to be them following up on A or anything crazy like that. It's going to be some shenanigans here. So hold on, let's see. What can we see here? Because I'm pretty sure they're all supposed to be in Serbia right now, the Complexity guys.
That's where everyone is. All of Counter-Strike has moved to Serbia these days.
Good. Makes sense. Totally understand that. Yeah, okay, so Russia's here. So it makes me think that they managed, because that was the question, whether or not they were going to be able to get out of the UK. But looks like it's good. Awesome.
Yeah, that I think is important, right? We talked about this in the online phase of Counter-Strike that we've been in for a while now. Making the choice, moving everyone together and having them play like that could be pretty cool, right? Like, it can certainly help the atmosphere, and I'm sure it helps even if the atmosphere is terrible, right? In terms of, you can at least talk it over after the game. So I think that's important.
No, it's, good and bad, right? Now you've actually got the team all together. There's been a lot of talk about that, actually. A lot of discussion about Astralis and whether or not Astralis, they're suffering because they're not all on location together. There's a bit of that, but I don't think that Vitality in this tournament are in their facilities in France. I think they've gone back home.
It seems like that's the case, yeah.
So maybe we'll see. Does this bear out anything? I mean, if the edge is there, should it be better here for Complexity now that they're all together?
I mean, it could certainly be one of the factors, right? Well, it's hard to say how much of a difference it will make, but I am curious, I'm definitely curious. It's a hard choice, obviously, to stay together for a really long time in the same spot. Like, that can also be taxing, so maybe we'll just have to find out. We do have 5 Deagles in play for the Complexity side, so they could do some real damage. And there are some players on this team you wanna avoid when they have those Deagles. So definitely seen Config in the past land some pretty ridiculous Deagle headshots. So
yeah,
we'll see if we're gonna be in for one of those. They're all gravitating towards the B side of the map, which is where they wanted to hit in the pistol round, although in a different fashion, obviously. That's some nice control from Masuta. He's just really patient, tapping away, and for now, he'll be the only casualty of the round for Vitality, and indeed, yeah, that's really well done. He didn't just empty the entire magazine there. He bursted away and made it work. Shox is laughing right at the beginning. He's having a good time.
No, I don't know if that doesn't bode well when Shoxy's laughing like that. Well, I mean, if you're rooting for Vitality, it's definitely a good thing. You definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to spot that documentary that just came out recently from Vacam? They're doing a whole 2-part piece documentary on the whole French scene, Envy, in 2014, 2015. Wow. That whole period of time when things were just popping off. Kenny in his peak.
Haven't seen that yet, but that sounds amazing.
Oh, it's fire! It's on Reddit. Go and check it out, guys. I'm actually promoting Reddit right now.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll definitely go. I want to see that. Okay. He took a bullet to the face, but it was a Glock, so he's all right. Oh, it's a P250 actually.
This is cool. We didn't see JKS in the pistol round up in Palace, and that made me wonder a little bit if they were going to give him his spot back. But in the last 2 rounds, we've kind of seen him lurking around over here. And JKS, Mr. Savage, he needs a palace. He needs comfort. He's used to
trying to be the king,
being the king,
Sultan,
sitting on those cushions.
Has a palace. Sultan, I think
it would be the Sheikh, I suppose. But he's used to being on the cushions up there. So if Complexity are giving him back his old spot, maybe this is a bid for them to try and get him to step that level up again, because he has been in a bit of a decline lately. Even before Poison went on his break, JKS was already starting to slip in the stats. So I mean, they've got to be reaching. Yeah, we were looking this morning. It was he's been struggling for a while.
All right. Well, that's really interesting. Again, I've got some pretty high hopes for JKS myself. So I don't know, like, I feel like people months ago, maybe that's too far, maybe like a month ago, people were already giving JKS the thumbs down, and just end it now. And I just, for me, I don't know, I've got pretty high expectations of JKS. I feel like I want to hold on some more, but I can share the doubt, right? Like I'm starting to sort of feel it more and more, that same feeling, like, well, what's going on here? But I'm not ready to give up yet. Not yet. So This would be a great time to make the whole thing fit, right? With Poison and, back in the mix. That would be the most beautiful story we could build if suddenly it all sort of came together like we know that maybe it could. Config is sneaking in. There's a three-way crossfire here. He's inside of the smoke now. Yeah, he's going to walk out with his back turn. They've actually exchanged places, and he somehow gets a kill. Now, he is traded, and in the middle, they're going to lose even more players. Apex and Masuta doing a lot of work right here. And I just don't think Complexity were ready for that many people to be near middle. That was, more than half the Vitality team was set up around this position.
And Zai was asking Config, I was on your head, right? Config, yeah. Zai, WTF. A little bit of a back and forth here between the players. Beginning of this match. I mean, it's tough not to want to read too much into this, but it's still early days on this T side. So, obviously, these are feel-good kind of rounds here for Vitality. They're shooting confidently. They're peeking for information, right? They're not really trying to stay too passively here. Vitality are clearly confident in their ability to win duels, and so we're seeing them just make plays in mid, make those plays for info.
Yeah,
and well, that's what you need on a successful CT side.
You know what's also interesting, just as a template for like building future rounds. Let's just say Config was successful in walking through the smoke and getting a double kill into the A bomb site and you win the round. Like, I agree that would be cool, but you actually wouldn't learn very much about what you could do from there on out. Like, it just feels strange as your first round. I won't even say that it's wrong, but it's just an interesting concept for your first round to go for that kind of a gimmick play if you're on the Complexity side. Because, by definition, gimmick can't really be repeated in that fashion. But regardless, we will never know the result. They got really badly outplayed there. Now Cyber's got the AWP and he's happy sniping away. He's got some backup in here on RPK underneath Shadow. Poison though, kind of making it work with the Tech 9 for the minute, but BlameF, he's not going to take anyone else with him. So that means 5 in a row as Vitality catch fire, and they get to save so many weapons. They're so rich right now.
They are, and well, now the really interesting thing here is that Poison, he saved up his money for his AWP. So we will get that op in play now, and this is where the pressure is on. I think on Poison in particular, there's a lot of weight on his shoulders because the expectations have been, Complexity have been struggling because he isn't here to bring that op to the fore. And so now that he's finally here, all the expectations, right, from all the fans out there is that, okay, now he's going to dominate.
Yeah, one thing is the opening, right? And another thing is the energy that you might put into a team without having the full roster. Shox is going to get caught. That was a nice pick-off from Rush, but Saiwu, he's going to stick around, and yeah, he's not even that worried. Deep smoke going in there. They had 3 people at the B bomb site, which is kind of interesting. Saiwu's going to start to rotate back, and they're going to leave Masuta up in the B hallways. No one is on catwalk, so Masuta is really exposed.
Nicely done there, traded by Config, taking down Apex. Again, that play for information, but this time it actually works out. Config has really just established himself here towards Connector.
Again, that B-bomb side is so vulnerable right now. Config. Oh, there we go. Quick thinking from RPK, not even worried. He's going to go take him down. He did spot him the first go-around. And now BlameF and JKS. Still walking around the middle. Need to find a way to get into a bomb site and get that bomb down, because that's been lacking quite a bit. This is being kept really well, and even if you jump past here, I mean, this is probably the best, maybe second best player in the world, depending on your taste, so you had better be quick about it. Yeah, BlameF trying to walk in. He was, not so much trying to get past as he was hoping to sneak in a quick fight against someone there. Now, I think there's not much that JKS could do, really, with just 18 seconds. And even Masuta absolutely making sure that there's not going to be a bomb plant here. I can respect it. Molotov comes out, but Masuta is going to just barely stay alive. It was close. But this is great. I mean, what a start. 6-0. They don't get the bomb plants. They don't really do enough damage. Oh, this is from earlier. He did actually jump on him.
That's wild.
Wow.
They were freaking out.
That's...
Speaking of freaking out, though, dude,
that's pretty rude. That's uncalled for.
I was freaking out on stream the other day because I was checking HLTV for Zaiwu's stats because we were doing like a simple Zaiwu comparison. And you literally have to scroll back 2 years before you find a red event for this guy in the ratings. Like, he just does not... underperformed.
Takes no days off.
It's unbelievable how consistent he is.
It's really hard to explain how that works, isn't it? So, well, we know what we're in for. He's certainly having himself a good game right now. Double up setup on the Vitality side, but you know, the standard classic wall towards jungle, towards CT spawn. The bomb is going to be planted here, which is usually that's not the main problem, although this is a really cool adaptation. Not just getting the bomb plant, but actually pushing forward, which they probably have to do given the weaponry that they have on that complexity side. But I still love everything about this. Now they're in really deep jungle, up in the palace, they're everywhere. And it's going to be hard to dig them out. I think best case here, they smoke the bomb and defuse it without fighting the rest of complexity. It's not even worth it, I think. JKS is going to find one kill there, and Cyrus sneaking in. Crab walking. Oh no! Config still picks him up. And now that smoke defuse, it's just too far away, isn't it? Shock's very low on health, and he's going to get found. So Complexity found a really unlikely round that they probably shouldn't have been winning at all. And I think Vitality, I actually think they trusted themselves to win those battles way more. They had 3 people walking from CT spawn. I'm pretty sure they had at least 2 smokes. They could have just smoked the whole bomb site and just defused.
They didn't make use of any of their nades. They had incendiaries, flashes, smokes. They could have used all sorts of stuff and tried to go for some kind of coordinated retake there, but instead they kind of got complacent. That's the feeling you get. Yeah. I mean, you know, they're all chuckling, 6-0. Everything's gone so smooth so far. Now this will be the wake-up call for them, and there's Zywoo catching Poison out immediately in mid, and he has to know that Config isn't far behind. This time, he's not going to get jumped on the head.
And Shock's on the other AWP, so Complexity have just lost 3 people. And that's off of winning that one slightly freaky round.
Although Config is now... Oh, but RPK is ready for him.
Yeah, but I mean, again, because they've already lost 3, even if he got like a surprise kill here, how much of a... I mean, he'd have to get a surprise triple spray down. Then I'm in. You know, but those are hard to come by. You have to wait around in the window for a long time before that happens.
Oh... Did Poison had it off. It's like the 1v1 duel with Zywoo right now. He's just so brave.
Well, that's one of the things, right? But that smoke that was down there as well is there to prevent a Molotov from coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
So because normally that's how you'd stop Cyrus from doing that, is just Molotov that position, but I guess that was already accounted for. And I don't know if Cyrus was one throwing it. It all happened very quickly. Blame F going down. It is a flawless round from Vitality, and they're up to 7-1. So this has worked out so well, yeah. That's the second kill, or maybe the third for Shocks there. Wow. Yeah, this is all working out incredibly well for Vitality. Complexity, feeling the pressure now. Just a bit. They do have the round loss bonus, and that's somewhat helpful. First timeout being used by them. 2 AKs, 2 orbs, and then 1 M4 on RPK. But yeah, they seem pretty fired up. Cyrus 11-2 at the moment, so that all on its own will, I don't know, that's not good news. The opposite in many ways. If you're on the Complexity side of things.
Well, you tend to want to get kills. You know, that's a usual good place to start, fundamentally, right now. And if you're going to keep running mid and keep struggling to deal with this position in mid, that's really going to throw a wrench in things here for Complexity. Not done yet, though. They do have the AWP still, again, in Poison's hands. They have enough for a full buy. Blame F is looking like he wants to get out on the flank. And Apex playing aggro short will get information from a different angle this time.
I mean, if they can get RPK right here, even the trade, that's not bad at all. Shocks, he's going to miss the opportunity, and they do have a smoke to get rid of him, and even Molotov, so they could do something. They're going to catch Apex without putting up any of the grenades, so that's also quite valuable now. Rush can't make it back, but again, this 2-for-2 trade is super worth it for Complexity. They're going to get a quick bomb plant right now, and then the question is, can they slip back away so that they can actually defend this bomb plant? Poison will land a nice shot on Masuta, and that makes it a one-on-one. But now they know where he is, and they have a Molotov, so they can probably block him out of the round, and then just worry about the ramp or middle, depending on where they think he is. Blame F sneaking up. Yeah, they had no idea where he was. So now it's on Shocks. That Molotov never actually went up there. He's going to get one of the kills. HE, that's not quite the same. It needs to be the Molotov, and he's going to fake it once. He's got one chance. If he misses this, it's never going to happen. But he does turn around. Quick kill on Poison. He's got the kit and everything else, and he'll have the round 8-1. That is real close.
That hurts so much if you're Complexity. You're getting the bomb down. You're getting post-plant. You're getting your positioning well. You even get the read on Apex. You just take his head off because you know that Apex most of the time is going to be coming in from mid. And you, like, look at this kill here from Rush. He just sees him coming from a mile away, knows that there's going to be a player there. So everything feels like that went according to plan for Complexity. You just weren't able to lock down this clutch. And that hurts. That hurts so much if you're Complexity. But now at least, you know, you're making them bleed a little bit here, Vitality. They have to spend a lot of that bank that they've been building up, and so that's that bodes well. But Complexity is still enough rifles here for enough money for the rifles. And a bit more of a straightforward approach here. Straight on to B. Let's go.
Oh! Looked like, I mean, he almost crouched into the crosshair, but he still went down. Tutor, he's going to get overwhelmed. Config was actually flashed, and Apex probably lucky to even get back from that corner. It looked he could have maybe got caught there, I think. So, something is starting to work now for the T side. We had some successful A rounds. I mean, that last one, they probably could have won it. So, I mean, they're proving that they are kind of putting the pieces together at the moment. And could just also be a bit of a slow start. We've seen that before.
Maybe.
Check.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Config inside of the smoke. He's going to win that fight all the time.
Just thinking maybe it's a good thing to have the AK on Poison right now. I mean, he's gotten 0 kills with the op so far in this first half. So it kind of makes you think perhaps a good thing to change up the pace a little bit here. Just get some AKs, just a quick explosive play, no slow play, nothing too convoluted.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't even seen him really fire the ult. I feel like it's just been...
It's just been getting bodied.
Yeah, there hasn't been that much going on, so this is... Look at how close this is. I need that zoomed in and slowed down.
Dude, what?
Did he shoot under his elbow? Oh,
Get
no.
out of here. No. Wait,
no.
what?
It's like right on him, isn't it?
Oh, he shot over his elbow. He twitched and shot over his elbow.
He just needed to not do anything, basically.
Yeah, he had it there, 100%.
All right. It's
the
best.
Painful.
It's the best position because when you shoot people there, they fall back in the couch. And it's just there's something stylish about that.
Let me help you.
I enjoy that.
Kick out those doggies. I'll give you a cold one.
Well, 8-2. Not the best scoreline for Complexity, but you can save this. You can turn this around. You mentioned it earlier. They did a lot of economic damage. You can tell on the CT side. Not out of money, but the pressure is on. Just on the economics. Blamev has got into the window. This is a huge position to have. Rush did take an awful lot of damage from that nade, and he ran back into that grenade and is nearly dead. But Blamev is here, and he's calling a rotation to pivot around his position. So he sort of becomes, you know, the center of it, and the rest of them are just gravitating around the map now to try and make it back. They can Molotov out RPK, and if they do that, I actually think this will work so easily, because he can't smoke himself out either. He can't put out the flames, and then it's just going to be done. Apex caught by Blamev, but the timing is ridiculous. He was just looking for it. Saibu even flashed getting a kill, and they're going to hard check RPK. Not going to Molotov him out, so he gets at least the 1 kill. 30 seconds on the clock, and Blamev's still hanging around and just hiding in here in jungle, and they know it. They don't want to fight that at all.
He shot it out, though. Misuda's going to get that kill easy peasy. Zaiwu finds Rush as well. Now it's all on JKS.
Wow, shocks. Long distance. That was all the way over from the B bomb site. Catching him at the end. So, wow. It's so strange. From that tactical advantage, you would think that Complexity win that round almost, 100% of the time.
Without a doubt. I mean, it looks like they're up there. They were very quick in. Zaiwu's still getting that kill, though. It's so frustrating. But RPK trading 1-for-1, you're like, okay, this is still promising. I mean, it's still a situation where Complexity, it's a 3-on-3. They should be in a position with Blamev to do something. And I have to quickly make a quick... Poison actually has 1 op kill, Anders. He has 1.
Good. We like the correction.
Out of 2 kills.
Okay.
So it's a 50... it's a... Half of his kills are with the op.
You could have been friendly. Yeah, you could have done like the newspaper thing and we would have never known something. 2-9, and we're moving into the 12th round. Oh, it's already an opening in favor of Complexity. Rush taking down RPK. It feels like when they make it less complex, it actually works out better. Blamev catching a kill there, and now he just has to stay alive. He doesn't have to do anything else. Apex over the smoke, though, but he's surely going to get over. I can't believe he wins that fight as well. Taking down Rush, that is unbelievable. Pretty good double kill for Apex, who I think he was almost out of bullets even starting that second fight. So that's kind of interesting. Misuta has been flanking around instead of going middle to fight Blamef. He's now at the T-ramp heading into the bomb site. So he might get nearly a free kill here, at least on one of them. You have to assume it's going to be hard for them to check. But then what is the follow-up? The bomb is planted out in the open. It's just really, really hard to defuse at the moment. They have a smoke, but, well, now they don't. Misuta gets a bullet in the head, and JKS, he's starting to feel it. Good little double kill for him. Complexity at 3-9. If they get the next 3, which is actually totally doable, then I think we've got a game on our hands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. They've been put on notice right now, Vitality. Don't get complacent. Again, you should have learned that lesson earlier on. But these very quick plays, I think you're right. I think you nailed it, Anders. Maybe they were just getting a little bit too in their heads, just overcomplicating things. The answer, like, they've been good at getting the bomb planted in these rounds that are straightforward. You know, get onto B, get onto A, just go straight in. Don't try to overthink it. And right now, I think that may be what Complexity needs. They are definitely looking a little bit more poised. Although now they are playing for map control. They have slowed it down. And they're going to be looking for picks. This isn't a full buy for Vitality, so it's a good round to do this in, because Vitality aren't going to have the best firepower, and they're not going to have all the nades.
Yeah, Shock's holding on to the AWP. I don't mind that, but I'm not sure I understand his positioning. I mean, it's a bit of an off angle over at B, but he's also going to have incredibly late warning to the point where, you know, if they were to flash and go, you know, even if he gets a kill, they're definitely going to get the bomb down and everything else. So it looks like they're going to be congregating in middle and then start to make their way. Oh, that is a find from Apex. I'm not even sure how that works, but something tipped him off and he gets the kill. He's back for more. He should have probably had a double right there. That's still pretty impressive. I think Apex actually putting on some pretty good kills right now. Bit of a lineup here for Misuta, and he will handle it so incredibly well. So even at the limited buy, things are looking fantastic right now for Vitality. En route to pick up a 10th round, and they will on the back of Misuta and his triple. That was so well done. I don't know why Apex is looking annoyed. He might be at the bottom of the scoreboard, but he's actually had some pretty important rounds right now.
For sure. And he's such a sneaky snick. When it comes to these sorts of situations, man, he is always at window lurking around. He loves to jump into mid from window.
That's got to be just purely lineup, right?
Pardon me?
I don't think he could see anything through that.
He's probably just putting shots through.
Yeah, he's like,
But I mean, that's what Apex does. He late round lurks around window, lurks around connector. That's his main thing, his jam. Oh, JKS. Nice try. Nice try to speed things up here.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Ooh, and he's going to be so cool. He's very calm, right? Because he is at a massive disadvantage in that fight, but he didn't act like it. Still just slowly tapping away with the deagle. That's some good stuff.
Well, he is a savage after all.
How he didn't pick the name Savage for his, you know,
I still, you know,
strange.
really, dude. You're given that name, and it just writes itself, but...
Maybe it was too obvious, right? It's like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy. Oh, setting up a nade here, maybe. Flash, but they still win the fight. And then the follow-up conflict taking down Misuta. The B-bomb site's open for a bomb plant. And so when Apex, it's going to be very tempting to try and go for this. But at the same time, you're going to the 15th round where these two rifles are pretty much all you're going to have. So as tempting as it is, it's not 100% clear that it's going to be worth it. Bit of a long range there, and they'll lose that one. So actually, just a leg shot. Oh, that is annoying. If he'd had that kill, it would have been so much easier because he knew the other player was bench, and you could tell he's sort of running for it. Config will take him down at the end. It's a nice triple for Config with the deagle, and that is a 4th round for Complexity, which, I don't know, I think 10 rounds is actually really respectable for Vitality.
Oh, certainly. I mean, you were really hoping if you're a Complexity, I think, to be getting like 8-7 and something along those lines. Even then, or even 9-6, but like, yeah, you're getting into double digits on the CT side. Granted, this is a map where Vitality are kind of, you know, I mean, it's weird. You know, it's a stretch to say weak, but it's not their strongest map in the pool.
Yeah, room for improvement.
Sure.
We're going with the... Again, with the PR friendlies.
I like how when you say it's not their strongest map, it's still a 75% win rate. 3 wins, 1 loss in the last 3 months. So, you know.
Oh, that is the power of positioning, ladies and gentlemen. Sharks just assuming that no one will be close. You didn't even have to have good aim to get that particular shot. Blame has been doing that, a fair bit. Jumping into the window, being close in some of these. It's really, really helpful. And I mean, that's also part of the reason why it's a little bit confusing that they actually only have 4 rounds on the complexity side right now, because it just feels like it could have probably been more. They've had some great rounds where they've actually had, I think some deep positions on the map that they could have converted into wins.
I mean, they're getting opening kills. That's they're getting man advantage situations. It's just, it may have been that complexity at the beginning. I think they were their own worst enemy. But there's Rush clearing out RPK, and that's going to open up this A site. Apex is still here. With this FAMAS, though, it's going to be a stretch.
Yeah, that is it's not fun. But on the other hand, he might have to try and create the opening for his teammates to even get close to a retake. I don't think waiting around for them would have necessarily made that better. Misucha now trying to impress us in a 1 versus 5, and it's not quite going to work out. It will be 10-5 at the end of the half in favor of Vitality. That second half is going to be rough for Complexity. It's coming up after the break. Welcome back once again. Second half is coming up here. We are on the first map still. It's Mirage between Complexity and Vitality. And right now, I don't know, it looked to me like the Frenchmen were about to run away with this whole thing. Yeah. Complexity managed to hang in there with 5 rounds, and I think that's really on the low side, but it can be recovered. They can make up for it. I think they had a slow start, let's put it like that. Here we are.
A slow start, Anders, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, you win a pistol round and you're back into the mix. Look at the gamble.
Look at who's not about to have a slow start at all. They want to go for a full execute, more or less, as full as they can get in the pistol round. Only 2 people with armor, the rest with either pistols and a lot of grenades. So the smoke walls are up. They have the Molotovs. They want to go for it. And JKS, he does not care about your grenades. He's in it for the headshots. He's already got 2. He can't find a 3rd. And they're going to try and keep pushing, but they're running into a lot of people, and that is not working out. Cyber in a 1 versus 3. He's actually just straight checking middle. He wants the 2nd fight already. He knows that they're both there now. And he's turned for it. Instant shot down by Russian. That works out in favor of Complexity. A much-needed round here for the CT side.
Without a doubt, and how they got battered in that T-side pistol. Complexity, this has got to feel good that they were ready for it. On the CT side, they gambled B, but JKS held his own here on the A side, did more than was required.
When you step on a Lego in the middle of the night.
When Zaiwu shoots you for the 100th time with the AWP. That is definitely, that says a lot. But this is going to be a forced buy out of Vitality.
Yeah, like you're walking around at night and you step on a Lego, but it was actually the tip of Cybu's orb in your apartment for some reason. Like, no!
The stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. It's like you break your toe and you're about to get shot. 17th round. All right.
Okay.
Casual little shot there. Just not even worried.
Oh, well then.
Those are the kind of shots that, like, it's almost like you stop shooting because you're sort of surprised yourself that you're like, oh, okay, I did it.
Just kind of wondering, what does Apex do now at this point?
Scout away.
Yeah. Now they're pushing.
No scope that scout.
He did screw up their own HE though, so I mean they almost blew each other up. So that would have been a minor win.
Pretend it's a railgun and just don't even. Well, he's gonna go down, and no one dies on the Complexity side, so they're gonna be thrilled about that. And already it's 7-10. There've been no bomb plant, so Vitality aren't gonna be buying just yet. This is really good news. That good news can obviously come to an end when Cyber has the orb again, and it's going to be Vitality taking charge of the map.
In Zaiwu, 14 kills, 9 of those were with an op in the first half. So,
yeah,
if he gets that op, he is dialed in.
Ooh, they could have maybe caught JKS there. Just don't even care about the smoke. Putting a little pressure on him, and yeah, now I think they've stabilized it. You just want. Well, actually, I say that maybe a little bit too soon. A lot of trading back and forth. Now, they are losing MP9s and FAMASas in this round, so it's not like it's super bad. I mean, they're going to be upgrading these guns and get some M4s on the field for the next round. And 3 kills there at the end for the MP9 for Rush. So he's going to have a little bit more money to work with. But still, a 10-8 lead still for Vitality. First chance they really have here in the second half to put something on the board. So let's see how that goes. Orb on Cybu, and he's well, spawns usually don't matter. Like, this isn't quite like a Dust 2 thing, although you can spawn towards the A ramp on the T side and run there, which is one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
people don't do nearly enough. It's fun. It gets everyone really excited.
Apex just kind of drawing attention to himself, and that creates room for Zaiwu to win the duel. Poison trying to get antsy, trying to get Clever over there on short, and he gets caught. And so now man advantage for Vitality, and they don't. Well, I want to say that they don't tend to lose him, but they did lose a few to Complexity in the first half. So we need to see here if they can just keep focused right now, Vitality, because this is a golden opportunity now for them to just halt Complexity after 3 rounds in this first CT half for Complexity.
Yeah, and the gamble is in for Complexity. They've given up on the B-bomb site, and they're just hoping that it's going to be an A fight, and if not, they're going to save the guns. We can tell that, yeah, gamble works out in favor of Vitality instead, so fair play. I mean, you know, every round can't end in crazy clutches. Sometimes this is the better move, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that fight right there is
that's so clever from Apex. You nasty. Oh man,
he's making sure.
Yep, that's so good. That's exactly what you're thinking. Like, are they going to be able to make it over there to save that AWP? And the answer is absolutely not.
Yeah, what if it gets blown into middle or something by the bomb? You know, any number, or if they have an HE, like they could try and get rid of it. But yeah, this is the fight, and it's close.
Poison took the shot first, though. I wonder where Poison's shot went, because it looked like he shot first.
right over his head.
He would have had the angle too. So that's really unfortunate that he doesn't manage to connect with that shot, because that's not going to build his confidence. I mean, you speak to the greatest oppers, and they're always going to tell you that the large part of opping is confidence. And when you're going up against ZywOo, every shred of confidence matters. You know, you need every little bit that you can get. So if you're missing shots like that, that doesn't bode well here for the second half for Complexity. But Poison's going to get a second crack at it. Rush, he had the money. He's going to be able to drop an AWP for him.
I would love to see, especially on his sort of like debut game back here, I'd love to see Poison with a strong performance in any one of these maps. It's really fun to see him up when he is feeling locked in. It's quite impressive. All right, well, one middle, one up in the A palace there. Shock's hanging around, and the other three, looking around outside of the B bomb site. So far, I think Apex is the only one that has made contact with anyone here in middle. I mean, he's got ZywOo in there now with him, but he's pretty fearless, Apex. Remember, I mean, the job that he has now is a little bit different from the job that he's spent playing the rest of his career as an entry fragger. And, well, he's going to take down JKS. I guess old habits die really hard, so...
yeah.
It's just like the opposite, basically, of being a game leader, being the entry fragger. It's like, someone else makes the calls, I'm just going to follow through, and that's it. But, yeah, it's pretty cool, maybe to have both. Config, oh, that's a nice little clever boost, but they don't get what they want. Poison, though, with a follow-up, taking down Apex, that's not bad. Oh, what a flick to come out! ZywOo running point-blank range, they blind Blameth, and Config, he was standing in the fire, and I think that's why they didn't check it. And as a result, he gets a double kill, but if it had ticked on for even once or twice more, he would have been dead. Deep nade, not going to catch him. A shot through the bench, though, I mean, that would do it, but it's a risk, and Config will find another one, make it a quad kill at the end. That's amazing, though. I can't believe he just ran into the fire to take this fight. Look at this. So there's one, and then he's backing up into it. If that burns, like, just a second more or two, he's dead. Huge round out of Config. That's...
Dude, this might change everything. They're sitting next to each other now. Look at this. You know, big rounds come out. They can feel the hype. They're there for the fist bumps.
Yeah.
This is we're talking about a team that has been heavily isolated, where you got Rush just living out of a hotel room. JKS, same thing. You know, like they've just been on their own for months. But if you can actually get the team together now, it's that little bit of LAN, that little bit that might make the difference here on the CT side for Complexity. That being said, I mean, Vitality, their T side on Mirage is stronger than their CT side, and so this is where you really need everything to come online for Complexity for them to stand a chance against holding off against Vitality.
It's a 2-round gap. Apex is really deep in. This, again, this should be a knockout blow for Vitality. They need to win only one fight here. If they get one opening kill or anything else like that, it should be working. Now, Poison knows, but it's very late information. A little bit of a crossfire there with Blameth. That's important, but Shock's coming in, and already that leaves Blameth out on an island. He's got nowhere to go. And Poison, he gets a kill. And again, that's super important. 3 versus 3. Bomb is going to be planted here. And actually, ZywOo's low on health, and so Shock. So maybe with a little bit of timing, there's ZywOo going down. And Shox is in middle. He's hoping for that very late lurk in to try and stop the bomb defuse. That means Apex, grenade at his feet, is going to have to do this on his own and buy the time so that Shox can actually do anything, because otherwise it's going to be too obvious. He's already walking up behind. He's going to snatch one. They line up and he sprays down both of them. That is an amazing play, but is it going to be enough? Config instantly with a kill on Apex, and I think he could have bought the time, but instead it's going to be Complexity with a 10th round.
Ooh, buddy, we need to keep an eye on Apex. Exactly, for the Apex cam. That feels like that could have definitely been a round going Apex's way at the end there. And we're going to see Shoxy just marvelous spray. I hope we have that, because this is Config coming in. Annihilate ZywOo. Fair enough. Shoxy with the double, though. That was monster.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know what kind of a call Apex got from his team, you know?
They know that he's there because he's the one who also came in, took out Blameth. So, like, they know where he should be in that scenario.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if his team was saying, You know, he's out of the open, like, just catch him right now. He's looking middle.
Sure.
Poison starting this round off. Oh, wow! That is exactly what we were waiting for. A quad kill. The first two, yeah, their openings towards the middle, and that's fine. Well, one of them he was towards the palace, but they actually tried to run him down. They might have had a similar thought in the back of their mind, thinking, you know what? He's had a bit of a cold start with that AWP. Let's test this kid and see what he's got. Well, you just found out. Cywo's sneaking on in. Poison is towards the middle, so less likely getting an ace at the moment. But what a way to bring it back on par here. Cywo in a 1 versus 5 with 58 seconds. And he's going to need to have some help from them, right? He needs a free couple of kills here where they fight him one at a time. And when you look at the scoreboard and see that it's Cywo left, you're probably not going to be giving him many of those. Well, there's going to be one shot. And it's JKS to take the last one. 11-11, all tied up. Oh, man. Let's see. That's what I was waiting for from Poison. And we had to wait pretty deep into it. Not that he's been doing nothing, but I think that's the level you want him at right there.
Without a doubt, Anders. Without a doubt. And that finally puts him on the board in terms of opening kills as well. He had lost all of his opening duels before then, but this, gives him that opening kill in the round and the follow-up as well. The big multi-kill bumps those op numbers up. But a nice thing here as well is not that it's just all the eyes on Poison, because obviously him catching up is a good thing, but Config right now is going toe-to-toe with Cywo in terms of performance, and he's coming out ahead. And this was also one of the key figures that we needed to keep an eye on here, is that Config really step up and have that star performance for them to have a chance.
Oh, nice shot. I was going to say, actually, JKS played that really well. Masuta, though, will continue with the deagle. This is pretty awkward. Vitality with just pistols and not that much to work with, but they've made a lot out of it for now. Apex is in middle. He's going to, well, be spotted by Rush. The bomb is planted. Plenty of smokes to, again, throw onto the bomb and try and see if you could defuse inside of it. It's never a bad idea. Shock's out here on the ramp. He's got Cywo behind him, so they've got a bit of a layered fallback there. I mean, you take one of them down, maybe you don't realize there's going to be a second one. Shock's, he's dead, and Masuta is going to be on his own, trying to win this round entirely alone. He's so close. There's the bomb. 17 health from an ace is Masuta. He opened it up, and he nearly finished it. That is so much work for one player.
But that's what you kind of need here from Complexity, man. You've got the clutch. You've got it all right now on Complexity. They are coming online, this team. And I mean, it's got to be the fact that they're on land together. I mean, it's hard to attribute it to anything else. I mean, Poison being back into it. They've had time to practice together as well now with Poison in the roster. So it's not like he just showed up yesterday. They've definitely been putting work in. And this is going to be the key. This is going to be the key, is if you can start to get Apex tilting, that's where it starts to go downhill for Vitality. That's the big Achilles heel right now in this Vitality roster, is if Apex starts smashing his keyboard, things start to look good for you.
If you can actually get him to destroy his keyboard, that if you're going to play with the mouse, that's going to be very tricky, isn't it?
the literal turret.
You could bind mouse 4 and 5 to like walking forward and backwards, and then just,
What's really cool, though, is that, this is why sometimes you got to be careful about just looking at kills, because JKS, he's only got 15 kills. Config has got 23, but JKS has got nearly 90 ADR right now. So it's like JKS is getting in these fights. He's having an impact.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of complexity we'd love to see right now.
It was the big question mark going into the series. Which one were we going to get?
Yeah, we just didn't know. It didn't look like it was going to be anything worth really thinking about at the beginning. Now, well, Apex is down. First off the bat, through a smoke in middle. So, yeah, talking about getting him annoyed. They're trying to push through that smoke, but they realize that is not going to be a good idea. And now, they've already tipped their hat a little bit here, or tipped the game off a little bit. They've shown themselves on that ramp.
What was this? A lady moment?
Yeah, something like that.
Tip the hat just a little bit.
Listen, they are, the French. They're polite. They just peek into that A-bomb site, say, mademoiselle. What's going on here? We're backing out again. Listen, I obviously don't know anything about French culture. I'm sorry.
Is that a baguette? Oh, you're just happy to see me.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody want any croissants? And then they're throwing those instead of grenades. Oh wait, what? Did he throw a grenade on top of him? Poison. He's lightning fast. Can he get this flick? Oh, he seems so warmed up. It's Cyber on the other side, though, and the flashbang will cancel out the fight for the minute. But Russian Config are over at the B-bomb site, and they've got a lot of work to do here. Config, it's easy for him, though. Big double. Shocks will take down his teammate, and he just continues. Yeah, so Config in this mood. He survives on 1 health. Fair play, but he's got 26 and 13. And, I mean, he is a player that can take over a game. It's so outrageous.
Taken off. It's definitely a win condition for Complexity. They need talking about it this morning where Config, you're not really sure which Config you're ever going to get. Is it going to be bottom barrel Config or is it going to be absolute dominant Config? And it feels like he just goes one to the other. There's no like middle ground Config. And right now, well, we're definitely getting top shelf Config. This is the Config that you savor. He is definitely performing right now. And he's getting those first kills in as well. So that's creating opportunities for his team.
13 to 11, 5 in a row for Complexity. They're just building on it. And Vitality, I mean, they're running out of cash and certainly running out of rounds as well. Rush with a bit of a setup. I think he might have made a little bit of noise here, certainly with the scoping, but is it enough to tip them off? There's the early exchange, but Shocks is right in front with a MAC-10, and he's running in front of them. Is it going to be enough? No, it won't. There's a team kill, and then a double from Rush, and the bomb is now stuck up there, and they're never going to get it back.
Shoxy played that so well, and then Zywoo assassinated him. Shoxy wasn't running back, bro. He wasn't running away, Zywoo. You didn't have to stop him from abandoning his post.
Up out of the trenches and go fight. There's no turning back.
Shoxy was facing him.
That's pretty rough, man. Misuta, he's had some really cool rounds, but I think this is just, it's not really about him as a player. It's just, there's just too much in front of him, isn't there? Too many obstacles. Rush with a nice triple Complexity at 14-11. And they just seem like they're not going to let go of this game now. They seem so dialed in.
Well, that was definitely, and this is one thing actually. Shoxy actually mutes his mic. So when he rages, for example, when he starts tilting, he'll flick his mic, the mute button on his headset real quick, rage a bit, and then turn his mic back on again, so it doesn't go into the TeamSpeak with his team, right? So a little detail, you know, veteran players like that, you know how to play on LAN. You don't want that going into the comms, right? Muddying up the comms.
I like that. I feel like it's just gonna get all bottled up for him personally. But fair enough, I totally get it.
Oh, well, I mean, right now, there needs to be a little bit of rage here on Vitality's side. They need some hunger. It feels kind of like they're going down with a whimper right now.
I mean, it's certainly an interesting turnaround for Complexity, right? The difference between first and second half, it's really quite amazing. Ooh, Poison nearly getting caught off guard. He's still going to stand and fight, but will get found by Apex. Another good entry for him. JKS, though, doing the best that he can, and it's really good. A triple shutdown as they come out of the abs, leaving Saiwu alone in a 1 versus 5. And he's going to get a bit of a fight there. Probably not necessary. Probably could have just stuck around and played it safe. It shouldn't be possible for him to do much here. 40 seconds. He can make it back to the B-bomb site, but not in a slow fashion. So by the time he gets there, and Config is so far up towards the catwalk, he'll hear him, and then they'll call in BlameF and everyone else. So not really blaming Cyber, but I don't think this is going to be working. I'm not sure. Is he just... Yeah, they're already moving. BlameF is already on the way. They heard him.
Yeah, that rotation's coming in hard here from Rush. He's going to be in position in time. Zywoo with an off, though, man. He's always lethal. If there's a way for him to pull it off...
Oh, but he can't fake it. He has to go straight for it. Rush will take him down. So, wow, a lot of that round is the difference between Config being that far up catwalk or further back. Because if he's further back, he doesn't hear him stepping. They never rotate over. And if he just wins that fight, there's no rush to follow it up. He was really far away. So, that's interesting. But at the end of the day, it's 15-11. Vitality need 4 in a row to bring it to overtime.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed right now. Everything is coming in. Everything that we were talking about going into the series, it's not even like Poison has to hard carry. He's doing his job with the AWP. JKS is fragging. Rush is up there. And then you got Config the hard carry.
Speaking of Rush, he's going to be put to the test right now. Poison is there to try and help him out, but the entire Vitality... going to be put to the test right now. Poison is there to try and help him out, but the to be put to the test right now. Poison is there to try and help him out, but the put to the test right now. Poison is there to try and help him out, but The entire Vitality team is coming for his position. And they're actually going to run him down. What a flick out of config. Not normally known to be an offer, but I guess if it works, who cares? Nice nade, and the follow-up. Config is out of this world. Apex alone with an AWP, and he's about to get shot in the back. He's got the right idea. He knows that someone might be there, but as soon as he gets spotted, it should be the end. He turns and he can't fire the gun. That's going to be 16-11 as Complexity bring down Vitality on Mirage, the very first map in this best of 3. What a crazy way to get this series started.
Excellent stuff, Anders. Excellent stuff, because you know what? This guarantees an answer to the question that we were all wondering going into this series as well. What's happening with Vitality and substitute players? Now, at least, if it goes to 3 maps, we're going to get into Nuke, and it's going to get real fun. But it turns out the third time's a charm. Last 2 times these teams have faced on Mirage, Vitality